All right, everybody, welcome to this Voces digital presentation. We're going to be looking at some Voces videos, particularly French ones, the French with Mr. Innes series and the Voici la France en image series. So taking a look at those, as we're talking about these videos, you're going to learn where you can find these videos, some reasons that students love them, how you can use them with your students, and then like some extra ways beyond what's already there that you could use these videos with your students. So the first series that we're looking at is French with Mr. Innes, and this is actually a teacher who made his own YouTube channel. So before I even jump into it, I'm actually going to share that YouTube channel with him, just in case you start using them in Voces and you're thinking that you would really love to see more. So let me add that into the chat real quick. And if you're rewatching this as a recording later, just search French with Mr. Innes on YouTube and you're going to find his channel. It's really awesome. So French with Mr. Innes, we have those videos in introductory French, and we have at least one video in most of the chapters. I know a couple of the chapters have two videos. There's like one chapter that doesn't have any, but you're going to see those spread throughout the entire curriculum for introductory French. And they're also in our first level of Voix du monde, and those ones do have one video per chapter. And he actually made those specifically for Voces Digital, so you won't find those on his YouTube channel. They're just specifically in Voix du monde. So looking at French with Mr. Innes, I thought we'd just watch a really quick little clip. This is one that's actually in introductory French. I pulled it off of his YouTube channel, but it's about Mardi Gras, so it's part of our chapter on celebrations. So I thought we'd just take a real quick look so you can get an idea of like the vibe of his videos. I guess I should pause and ask, is
Melissa, I don't think you're
the
sharing
audio coming
audio
through
with your
okay?
desktop.
What's that?
No, you're not sharing your audio as
There's
well.
no
I don't
audio?
think
Okay,
no
then
audio
I'll just
coming
skip
through.
this slide. All right, no big deal. All right, so anyway, so why do students love French with Mr. Innes? He has this zany personality that you couldn't hear it, but you could just kind of see it come through with his gesturing and stuff. He's just a really, really fun person to watch in his videos. He brings a lot of comedic aspect into his videos, so it goes right along with the zany personality. So it's fun, it's funny. He's really good at distilling it down to just some bite-sized chunks of language so that it's not anything that's overwhelming to students. He just gives them a usable amount of language and shows them how to use it. And they also love the song of the day. That's only in the introductory French videos. We don't have those in the Voix du monde, but it's really fun to hear him talk about the songs and then like go further into it, investigating those songs and listening to them together. So using the French with Mr. Innes videos, you've got a couple of different things that you could do. You could do it as in-class viewing. So put it up on your projector, your smart board, whatever, and watch it together as a class. But you could also use it as homework or independent work because of the nature of the videos. They're so self-explanatory. So if you're using it as in-class viewing, some things that you could do, he sometimes like stops and prompts the students to say something or interact with the video in some way. So as you're projecting it on your screen or whatever, you could pause that video and ask students to actually respond to what Mr. Innes is asking them to do. And then after that, you could assign the comprehension questions as some sort of like an independent work follow-up. So we just watched this video together, work on this and turn it in. You could actually even do the comprehension questions as a group, like keep it projected on your screen and go through all the questions together. Either have students do it on their own device at the same time, or just work through it together as not a turned in graded activity, but just something that you do together. If you use it as independent viewing, it's perfect for that because the videos are so self-explanatory. They're very thorough. Students will know exactly what they need to know from watching these videos. So you could have them watch the videos by themselves and respond to the questions either as some independent work that they do in class, or it could be homework if you're the type that gives homework. Another way that you can use French with Mr. Innes is as a sub-plan. So since they're so thorough and so well explained, he's like a portable French teacher. So he presents everything that your students needs right within that video so that they can take that and do independent work. So if you're going to be gone for a day and you really want students to move forward with what they're learning, give them a Mr. Innes video to watch and they're going to succeed. There will be no choppiness of like, oh, we didn't know what to do or anything like that, because they are just perfectly laid out and ready to go. So what I love about these are the goofy examples. So he likes to like take the language and use it in some sort of a goofy way. And that's a great way for students to stay into the video engaged. He uses lots of lively images and he gives a fun French fact of the day. So those are really fun to listen to. And Voix du monde is actually a francophone fact instead of just French, since that curriculum is about all of the French-speaking world. Our other series is Voici la France en images. This is a more of a CI approach to videos. So you're going to find these in our CI French curricula, Notre, histoire, levels 1 and 2. And we have one video per unit. So it's really tied into the unit itself. And you'll find it in the encore section. So a little screenshot right here, you go to the encore, and you can see that right here, Voici la France en images. If you were to click on that, it would expand and show you the video that you could access. So what is Voici la France en images? It's a way of exploring the culture or history of European France itself. So even though the unit itself might be about a different country, this is focusing just on metropolitan France. So what it does is it takes the target structures of a unit and really focuses on those as it tells some information throughout the video. It ties in very closely to the chapter theme. So it's keeping students on focus with what their goals are for the unit. It's got very easy to understand narration. So very comprehensible vocabulary is used and it's spoken nice and slowly so that students can understand it. And it's right full of captivating imagery so that students will be able to be drawn into the video, not just through the narration, but through all of the images that they see. So there's, like I said, one per unit. And since there are 6 units in each level, we have 12 videos, 6 per level. So I just thought I'd show you a little bit of what they're about. So you can take a look at those. I'm not going to read them to you, but you can take a look and you can see this is if you were in level 1. This is what you'd be teaching for each unit, unit 1, 2, all the way down to unit 6. And the same thing with our level 2 curriculum, starting with our first unit about dialects and coming down to the taking of the Bastille. So why do students love these videos? The topics are really interesting. So it's stuff that isn't always brought up in a French curriculum, some more like obscure topics, very interesting things. Like I mentioned before, the imagery is awesome. So it just draws students in, makes them want to watch it. And it's spoken very slowly and it's easy to understand. So it's not going to overwhelm your students. Oh my gosh, they're talking too fast. I can't understand a word, so I'm just going to tune out. It's not going to do that. It's going to draw them in and keep them engaged because it's slow and it's easy to understand. So how can you use this? It's actually a full lesson. There's a whole lot that you can get out of just one Voici la France en images video. So with a full lesson, you're going to start with an introduction. You'll go into some pre-viewing activities. So there's lots to do before students even see the video. Then they'll watch the video. You can get into some post-viewing activities to kind of check on students' comprehension of it. And then there's an optional extension activity. So you can go further with it if it's something that your students really enjoyed or just something that you think is really important for your students to learn. So our first step with one of these videos is a picture talk. So the page is going to start with a still shot from the video, and there will be some questions that you can ask that are already pre-made if you want to use those, or you can make up some of your own questions if you want to take the discussion a little bit further. And I just saw that my internet connection is a little bit unstable, so I'm going to turn my camera off real quick just to make sure that I don't lose you guys. All right, so here's an example of your picture talk to introduce your students, warm them up to this topic. So this is actually a still from one of the videos. Lots of stuff to look at, lots of stuff to get students talking. And then there's a list of questions that you can ask these students to get them talking about the video. And they're just examples. So you could use all of the questions, you could just use a few of them, or you could make up questions that are entirely your own. Whatever you want to do, whatever you think would best get your students thinking about the topic that's coming up and ready to actually view the video. After you have looked at that one picture, you're going to actually go into a slideshow that has more images from it, but not just being a picture by itself. These ones actually have captions, and there's another opportunity for you to ask some discussion questions. So looking at the slideshow, you can see this is another still from the same video, and the caption talking about that lunch isn't just a time for eating, it's also a time to socialize and rest. So if you are working on this, you could read this caption out loud and then start asking your students to respond both to the image or to the caption as well. So you can ask them, what do you see these kids eating? Does it look delicious? Do you normally eat pears, bread, whatever? Coming down to the caption, you could ask that your students, for you, is lunch more than just a time for eating? Do you get time to socialize? If I was still teaching at the school that I taught at, I would ask students, do you have time to both socialize and eat? Because I know that was something that came up a lot when they'd come back from lunch. Like, we didn't have time to finish eating because you were talking. So it's like, having to make that choice. Do you talk? Do you eat? How do you get through both of those things? So that would be a really good discussion in my classes, just because I know that's something that came up a lot. So yeah, go through those captions, talk about it with students, go beyond the captions, go beyond the pictures by asking them questions to help get them even more engaged. Another thing that you can do after you have gone through those things together are some pre-viewing activities. So before your students even see the video, they're going to work through some cognates, and they're going to review the unit vocabulary that they're going to see or hear in the video, to just kind of jog their memory and make sure that they can go into watching this video with confidence. So taking a look at some examples, the cognates. So you're going to see a list of cognates. Students will be able to match them up. If I were doing this with my students, I would read those cognates out loud as well. So that way they're not just seeing it, but they can actually hear what it sounds like. Just run through it very quickly. And this could just be really quickly, like you say the word and they tell you what the translation is out loud as a whole class activity. Then there's another activity, this is also previewing, where they're practicing the unit vocabulary. So it gives them a list of words that they use in the actual chapter, and it's just asking them to provide those translations, just as another way of jogging their memory, like, hey, you already know a whole bunch of what you're going to hear here, so it's not going to be an overwhelming video. After that, you actually get to watch the video. So there's a couple of ways that you can do that. If you want, you can have the students watch it straight through. You could do this on your projector, or you could have them do this individually, whatever works best for you. But you could also pause the video and ask some more discussion questions. So there might be a frame in this video that wasn't the picture talk and it wasn't in the slideshow, but that is something that you really like to talk about with your students. So as the video is playing on your projector, just hit pause, ask students questions about what they see on the screen, their opinions about it, go a little bit, beyond it, and ask how it applies to them, just to get them thinking about it even more. After your students, sorry, got a little bit ahead of myself. So here's an example of what a video looks like. So you can see it's sometimes got, like, the title will be in words, things will be labeled as well. So there's a little bit of captions, but not a whole lot. It's not the whole script on there, but important things will be on there on text as well. So after you watch the video, comes into your comprehension activities. I recommend doing these as independent work. Assign it to your students after you've worked through everything together, but it certainly doesn't have to be. You could make this a whole class activity all the way through and go through those comprehension questions together. Excuse me. So looking at your post-viewing activities, one thing that we have a lot of is another still picture from the video, and students are matching it up with what was said in the video at that time. So they're just looking at little pieces of what was said in the video, picking out that context and thinking, all right, what does that look like? What does that exemplify? And finding the picture that matches what's being described in that particular part of the script. Another post-viewing activity are some discussion questions. So you can go a little bit further and have students react to the video, asking some things about, like, what do you think about this? Or how is this different? How does it match or not match your lived experiences? Things like that. And then After that comes an authentic resource. So this is just an optional extension activity. It's something that you could do with your students, or you could absolutely not do it if you don't want to spend that much time on it. But it's another way to go deeper into the topic, learn more about it. And I think this could work as either a whole group thing or as independent practice. So one example of an authentic resource is sometimes there's videos. So this one, for example, they're going to watch teachers teaching their students about healthy breakfast and just listening to it. And the prompt is really simple. You're just writing down 5 foods that you understand in the video. So it's nothing that's going to challenge students too much or be insurmountable for them, just something to take them a little bit further. Sometimes this authentic resource will be an infographic or something like that, but just something that relates to the overall video and allows them to go a little bit deeper into that topic. You could also use these videos of Voici la France en images as listening activities. So if you wanted to do that, every page does have a transcript of everything that's said in the video. So you could print that out and you could just blank out some of the words, play the video, and then have students see if they could fill in those blanks as they go. So that would be a great way to adapt it or go a little bit further. Maybe before they watch it, you play it as a listening activity, they fill it in, and then they actually watch the video. So it could just be one more thing that you add into it as well. So what I love about these, I mentioned it a few times, the beautiful imagery. They're just so pretty, great images, and they're authentic, just really, really good, and they draw the students in. I love that there's a variety of topics, and I love that it's a complete lesson. So if you want, a whole day's worth of, okay, what are we going to do with this video? You've got it all mapped out for you. So it's just a great way to plug it in and just go. Doesn't take a whole lot of time on your part. Okay, so that wraps it up. Thank you for joining this presentation. If you have questions, I'm actually done a little bit early. So once I have done recording, I'll be happy to answer questions if you want to ask them right here and now. If not, I'm going to give you the link to the survey and you can do that as well. If you think of questions later, you are absolutely welcome to reach out to me, Melissa F. at vocesdigital.com. If you're more interested in questions about just Voces Digital itself, you can email us at info@vocesdigital.com. And you can also go to our hub. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording and we can open things up to questions if you want.